The girls had a hard time keeping quiet during Prissy's speech, but convulsed with laughter when he finished. Unfortunately for Prissy, his performance lacked Polish, and he was required to repeat it several more times, until he finally concluded it without the written draft for assistance. Janet then led Prissy and the others down to the living room. The girls enjoyed themselves immensely, instructing the submissive little girl-boy in proper feminine mannerisms, how to walk with a swish, how to sit gracefully, fluffing out her petticoats, and especially, how to curtsy demurely. Perry did not resist this continuing humiliation, even though more pictures were taken and the girls were nearly dying of laughter, if only in the hope the girls would tire of the game and let him go. Janet had promised he'd be out of the dress in a couple of hours, but time seemed to crawl for him. He was finally ordered to stand before them with his hands clasped demurely in front of his waist. Janet spoke next. "Prissy, darling, it's now time for you to repent for your inexcusable behavior today at school. A very nasty boy named Perry said a lot of awful things about girls, and we think you're to blame. But we're not mean people, we want to give you a second chance. My parents are gone for the weekend and you're going to learn all about what it's like to be a girl for us beginning right now, just like you said in your cute little performance in the bedroom. You're off to a good start, but we've just scratched the surface. For the next few days we're going to bring you through all of the stages of being a girl, and we expect your full cooperation. That means that in every way you will act as a girl. Not as a boy pretending to be a girl, but as a girl. We'll help you out, but if you don't satisfy us you'll receive demerits, and you'll be punished if too many accumulate. Do you understand?" Perry stood there dumbfounded again. You mean I have to do this all weekend?" "That's one demerit," grinned Katie. More tears formed on Perry's face as the enormity of what he faced sank in. "Do you understand?" repeated Janet. But you said I could have my clothes back in a few hours." "Please, can't we talk about this, please?" implored Perry, now feeling as if the quicksand he had climbed into through the window was nearing his neck. "And that's 2 demerits," joined in Catherine. "We warned her." "I think we should put her back in diapers," said Sally. "She's obviously not as advanced as we had thought." "I said you could change out of that dress." "I didn't say you could put your boys' clothes back on, did I?" sneered Janet. "Now do you understand, or do you continue to accumulate demerits?" Perry nearly broke out sobbing, but he got the message. "Yes, Janet, I understand," he whispered. "Great," smiled Janet. "You're going to be our little sister Prissy, and act as a 6-year-old girl until we've decided that you've advanced enough to grow up some. But just in case you have any other ideas, I think you ought to watch some television with us." Katie turned the TV set on, and slipped a videotape into the VCR. And there, in all his glory, stood Prissy, reciting how much he adored to dress, and act, like a little girl sissy. The girls all erupted in a cacophony of laughter as Prissy stared, dumbfounded, into the TV set. You, he stammered, but couldn't get out the words. "That's right, Prissy," crowed Sally. "You were looking into a 2-way mirror, and we had a camera on the other side. So you'd better take us seriously," joined in Catherine. "I'm sure you'd just love to have this tape circulate around at school, huh? Can you imagine? Macho Man Perry telling all the world how much he adores being a sissy and wearing his frilly pink dress." Prissy stood there before the girls, tears again forming in his eyes. Only this time they came down in torrents. He bowed his head and wept. His skirt was so full he couldn't hold his hands at his side. It seemed automatic to place them neatly at his waist, the white purse over his wrist gently resting on the front of his pink skirt. He was the perfect image of a little girl sissy, and as he realized it, the tears flowed even more heavily. "You're not behaving, Prissy," warned Janet. "Bad boys being punished in dresses cry like sissies. But real little girls like wearing such pretty clothes, and acting as if they love every minute of it. Now stop it this instant or you'll get enough demerits to be punished." Her speech merely caused his tears to increase further, and Janet declared that a punishment was indeed in order. Still sobbing, Katie and Catherine grabbed Prissy's wrists and pulled him down over Janet's lap. His skirt and petticoat were raised high up his back, revealing the pink romper panties in all of their glory. Janet slipped the panties down Prissy's legs and began to slap his bare bottom, while Katie and Catherine maintained their grip, preventing him from escaping. "You'd best learn now that your only chance of ever being a boy again is to behave like a girl now." After 10 slaps, Prissy gave up all effort to escape, and passively lay there, receiving his spanking like a submissive little girl, wildly flailing his legs as if to ward off the blows. Janet finally stopped, and, after his panties were restored and his skirt and petticoat lowered, Prissy was released to stand once again before the 4 triumphant girls. "Now, unless you want a repeat of that performance, I suggest you demonstrate to us that you are ready to act as you are dressed," declared Janet. Prissy paused, shifting his weight from one leg to the other, trying to get some relief for his sore bottom. Finally, in desperation, and not knowing quite what to say, he whispered that he wanted to play with dolls. "I didn't hear that," said Sally. "Speak up now, Prissy," she gloated. "Please, may I play with my dollies?" he inquired in a slightly louder voice. "You can do better than that," encouraged Sally. "Now try again." Eventually, after asking in a higher-pitched, feminine voice for his precious little dollies so that he could play house and pretend to be the mommy, the girls relented. And with that, a group of dolls was produced and Prissy sat on the floor before her older sisters and played house, much to the girls' fine amusement. Prissy's efforts were not exactly satisfactory, however, and the demerits began to accumulate, most of them attributable to Prissy's sullen demeanor. "Little girls should be enthusiastic when they play with their pretty dollies, Prissy," instructed Catherine. "You seem more like a naughty